How to build a Zig application using Jenkins. Here's today's starting point. I have a Jenkins LTS controller version 2.401.1. There's also a sample repository associated with this video. The link to that repository is down in the description. So what is Zig? Well, if we take a look at the homepage for Zig, it's at ziglang.org. Zig is a general purpose programming language and toolchain for maintaining robust, optimal, and reusable software. So let's figure out how to get started. So I'm going to click on Learn, and I'm going to go down to the Getting Started section. Now on the agent that I have connected to my Jenkins controller, I've already installed the Zig language on there, so all the commands are available to me from the command line. So if we take a look at Getting Started, we first need to set up Zig, which I've already done, and then let's look at the Hello World example. In this case, what would happen if you're doing it by hand is you would make a directory, cd into that directory, and then say zig init-exe in order to create a standalone binary. And then from there, it will create a build.zig file as well as a source main zig file that you can then modify to use however you want to use. So in my case, that is how my repository was set up. So let's go take a look at the repository. What we can see here is we have the build zig file, and then inside of source, we have our main zig file. Now the contents of these aren't really that exciting right now, but I want you to understand how we need to go ahead and set up the rest of our project in order to use it inside of Jenkins. So when we ran zig init-exe, two files, build zig and main zig. But let's look at the other files that are within this repository. I added in a git ignore file because once we actually start using Zig, there are some directories that are created. Two of them are zig cache and zig out. So I want to go ahead and ignore those and never commit those to my repository. And then finally, let's take a look at our Jenkins file. Within the Jenkins file, one of the first steps that I always like to do is run the version command or some similar command for the binary. So in this case, we'll get back the answer for the version, which in this case is 0.10.1. Then we run the command build, which if we take a look back at our getting started, we can see that right here running zig build, and in this case run, should compile and run it. But what I want to do first is just build it, and then later on we'll run it. Again, we'll take a look at the Jenkins file. We say zig build, then we do zig build test, which will run the tests. Then we say zig build run. So there's just three different variations of running zig build. But then at the end, we've created a binary. Remember that we went ahead and git ignored zig out. Well, inside of zig out is a bin directory that has our binary that is built from the zig build. So in this case, when we run zig build run, and then also just run the binary directly, we expect to get the exact same output. So let's go over back into our controller. I've already set up the job to point at the Jenkins file. And if we take a look at the output of job run 2, what we'll see here is we did our Zig version, which is 0.10.1. Our Zig build, we don't get any kind of answers back. We can add in extra parameters to Zig build if we want a more verbose answer. We ran Zig build test, which in this case from the Hello World, when we did the init-exe, it created one test for us. So that passed. Since that passed, we went ahead and ran zig build run, and this is the output from the binary that was built by zig build run. And then also this is a second output from that same binary. Now we get down to the very last section, we change our directory into zig out bin, and then we execute Jenkins example zig, which is the name of the binary. And then we can see here the output from running that binary is exactly the same as running zig build run. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to us on Twitter at CloudBees. If this video was helpful to you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to CloudBees TV yet, why not? Take a moment, click on that subscribe button, and then ring that bell, and you'll be notified anytime there's new content available on CloudBees TV. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.